Hey everybody, how's it going? Tooth here. It is 9 January 2025. It is snowing and the girls are playing in it and they are having fun. Um, I think this is kind of a subject that's been beat to death, but this dude has put a burr under my saddle and it is driving me freaking nuts. Uh, we're going to talk about barrel lengths in 5.56. And I mean, like I said, it's something that's been beat to death, but let's go ahead and let's look at some information. All this information is based off of a 55 grain pill, 5.56, out of these barrel lengths with this stuff. And I've also got some information about BDCs and stuff like that to go with it. And an interesting one that I found out as well. So, like I said, 5.56, 55 grain. This is what this information is based off of. I know Google is probably not the best way to pull this information, but it's, for the most part, it's generally correct. The only caveat I have on this, and I don't have the information with me, is the 1 in 12 twist on a 20-inch barrel, because it does travel a little bit faster. I don't remember the exact speeds, but it does travel a little bit faster than a 1 in 7 twist rate on a 20-inch barrel. But this is also all this information is also based off of a 1 in 7 twist rate. So 20-inch barrel, 3,100 feet per second, effective range 600 yards. 18-inch barrel, 3,050 feet per second, 500 yards. 16-inch barrel, 2,800 feet per second, 500 yards. 14.5, 2,750, 300 yards. 13.5, 2,600 yards. 2,600 feet per second, 200 yards. 12.5, 2,600 again, 200 yards. 10.5, 2,500 feet per second, 200 yards. So, like I said, we're talking about barrels and bullets here. The 5.56 or 223, they are different, is designed to work off of speed. You're neutering your round with the shorter barrel, boys and girls. With that being said, I run a 16-inch barrel primarily on everything. I do have an 18 and a 20 for coyote hunting and stuff like that. And my 16 inches get used for coyote hunting and hog hunting, primarily hog hunting when going hunting or deer hunting. So the other thing I found interesting is most of your BDC reticles and like your LPVOs and your MPVOs and other more magnification scopes, they're all set up for a 20-inch barrel for the most part. So when you're out shooting and you're trying to figure out your bullet drop using your BDC and it's not quite hitting where you want it to, that explains that, because your BDC is dependent on bullet weight and speed for it to have the right drop in it. I did find this, the ACSS reticle from Primary Arms, is set up for a 16-inch barrel shooting a 62 grain pill. And to me, that's Primary Arms doing what Primary Arms does. They look at the market, they see what everybody's buying, and that's what they try to gear towards. The other thing I found interesting, looks like most of your ACOGs that you purchase are not set up for a 20 or 16-inch barrel. They are set up for a 14.5 barrel. And the only reason I can see that being a deal is because that's probably their primary customer, because they sell thousands upon thousands of these things a year to the U.S. military. So that's where that went. And what got me to pull this information and put this information out to you all for you to make your decision is this individual has been killing my phone since last Sunday or last Monday, and today is Thursday, and he is just really putting a burr under my saddle. And like I said, I was going to let him just run his mouth, run his steam, but I really get tired of people telling me I don't know what I'm talking about. And all you got to do is a little research, looking around, go to the range, play with your guns, play with your gear, use your gear, figure out what it can and can't do. And that's the whole reason we got the deal going on the end of this month. That's what I was wanting to cover, was my loadout, what all the stuff I'm taking with me. Not covering any weapons or anything, just my sleep system, my cold weather gear, all that stuff I'm taking, the food I'm taking, and all that stuff to support myself for a 3-day deal, even though we're only going to be, well, I'm going to be out there for 2 nights. Most everybody else is going to be out there for 1 night, but I got to go down early and set up for some stuff. But man, this dude just keeps going and going, trying to tell me that 10.5 is the way to go. 10.5 for me, it's a niche thing, just like 300 blackout. It's close distance, and since he's talking about home defense, well, we'll hit the home defense deal real quick. Like I said, most of your 5.56 rounds, except for very few, and unless you're paying $2 a round, which I know most of you are not doing, you're neutering your gun. You've neutered it. That's the best way to put it. Because to me, 16 inch is kind of like, we're killing our distance for sure. And on home defense, you neuter a 5.56, your XM 193 55 grain or your 62 grain pill. It's just going in and out. It's not going to get the tumbling effect. It has to have the speed for the tumbling effect. I know some of those rounds, they'll tear up, and when they start shredding and tearing themselves apart after they go into soft tissue, it's because they're tumbling underneath the speed, and metal likes to go in a straight line. It doesn't like to do somersaults and all that good stuff. So there's that factor. So you just neutered it. So there's your home defense thing. And plus, when you're shooting it and it goes in and out, well, guess what? For me, I live in a neighborhood. I don't live out in the boondocks, and I really don't want to tear my house up any more than I have to. So more than likely, I'm not going to grab, I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm not grabbing a 5.56. There's a couple of other options for home defense. I'll go with a shotgun. Buckshot does not spread out that much like everybody thinks it does. My hallway is 60 feet long, and I can tell you right now, at 60 feet at buckshot, I'm going to get like a 2-foot pattern. Pretty much centralized, depending on what loads or what rounds I'm using, what manufacturer I'm using, is how much it's going to spread out depending on the wadding that's used to hold the buckshot together. Wouldn't recommend slugs. It's going to do the same thing like 5.56. It's going to go in, and if you're in a neighborhood, it's going to travel to your neighbor's house, or it's just going to put a really big hole in your house. Whereas the 30 caliber buckshot, using double-aught buck, you can putty it and call it good. Another one I might grab is a PCC. I know a lot of people bash on PCCs. They don't do this, they don't do that, all that other stuff. But the advantage over PCC is, like I was talking about a minute ago, ammo for short-barreled rifles in the AR-15 series, to actually get effective ammo is expensive. And I'm willing to bet most of you are not spending $2 a round or more. M855A1 ball, I'm sorry, M855A1 ammo is almost $3 or more a round. So I doubt you guys are spending that much money. I bet you're like me. You get a bunch of 62 grain, you bulk up on it, and it's good for doing whatever. And then every now and then you'll buy a 77 or 75 grain OTM match for deer hunting or something along those lines. But you don't have it built up, and I bet you don't have enough range. And if you do have some, I bet you don't have enough range time on it because you don't want to shoot it because it's more expensive to shoot. So you're running that. But I bet you do have a 9mm or a 45 caliber handgun that you carry for personal or self-defense, personal defense, your everyday carry. And I am willing to bet that is running a hollow point. And hollow point 9mm ammo is cheaper than a lot of that 5.56 specialty ammo. And a lot of your PCCs nowadays will chamber hollow point ammo, especially the 115 grain stuff. And even that Winchester white box stuff, I've had no issues with it out of any of my 9mm handguns. I have ran it in the PCC I have here just to see how well it would function. And yeah, mine is a cheap PCC. I did have to do a little bit of filing on the feed ramp, but yes, it does pick up hollow points now and works just fine. So maybe if you get a PCC, definitely check it out. You may not be having the same issues mine was having. I wound up on the feed ramp. It had 2 high spots on the side of it. I just had to file them down, smooth it out, and it started feeding fine. So we covered home defense, what I would do, and truck gun. I don't know, 5.56, yeah, that 2,500 feet per second, the truck gun will probably work out good if you're shooting from a moving vehicle. I don't really jump off on the whole truck gun scenario because once again, watching a lot of videos of these guys. Oh, this is the truck gun you need. Da 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 da. They're getting out of their truck and they're fighting. So once again, right there, I'm just gonna. It ain't gonna take me any longer to grab a 16-inch barrel than it is a 10.5 to get it outside the truck and start fighting. So there you go. And then on top of that, you're in an urban area, and I know Stokermatic put a video out, and I called him out on it. Well, I didn't call him out on it, but I did message like, hey man, I see your point in the woods, but a lot of people live in cities, and you're looking at several 100-yard shots and several of those scenarios if you get stuck in one. Like, let's just go shit hit the fan. If you're doing urban fighting, I've seen urban fighting. I'm pretty sure all of us have watched videos on it. It's very seldom you're shooting in the house next to you. The GWOT guys will tell you that. The Afghanistan guys will definitely tell you you're shooting some distance. And that's kind of one of the reasons we jumped up to, the military's jumping up to that 6.8 GPR round. Even the guys in Iraq, when I was working security in Iraq, we had guys getting into firefights and stuff like that, and we were shooting down streets. We weren't shooting house to house. Like, here's this house, here's this house. We weren't doing this stuff. We were engaging at least 200 yards on the average, and then closing distance. So, we are getting close, but we're starting at distance, working our way in. And if you're running the 10.5, you're at your max distance already. So with that being said, yeah, to me, that just throws a 10.5 right out the window again, especially if there's more of them and I want to put more distance. I want to keep them further away. Well, now you're just stuck with the 10.5 and your effective range is 200 yards, so you're screwing yourself again. And then he brought up the whole shit hit the fan thing. You got to do CQB and da-da-da-da-da. Well, I can tell you right now, I'm not doing CQB and shit hit the fan, because guess what ain't going to be around? Hospitals. Yeah, you can get an IFAK, you can plug a hole, and you can get yourself to a hospital nowadays, but shit hit the fan, there's a high possibility you're not going to have a hospital around. If they are, they're overworked, understaffed, and running out of materials rather quickly. So don't recommend doing CQB. Let's be real about it, people. So, and then I look at it this way too. If I'm in my AO in my neighborhood or my town and shit's hit the fan and I've set a quarantine area up, and I see you walking around, or we spot you walking around, however you want to put it, and I was like, oh, this dude's got a 10.5 barrel. Well, his effective range is 200 yards, because I know this information because I did my research and I try to remember things. He's up to no good. So guess what's probably going to happen? I'm going to outrange you by 300 yards. Or no, it's 600, so that's 400 yards out. No, yeah, was it 600? Let's check. 16-inch, 500. So yeah, I've got 300 yards on you. I'm going to take full advantage of that, because I'm thinking you're up to no good with the shorty running around. May not be the scenario, but hey, shit hit the fan. Better safe than sorry, if you ask me. And no, I'm not a shit hit the fan type scenario person. I'm just putting everything in the same perspective, if that's how you want to put it. So yeah, there you go. What I really highly recommend doing is look at where you live, judge your situation. And like one of the things I asked this guy, what if you can only have one gun and that's all you can have for whatever reason, come up with it? And he says, I'm still going 10.5. So that just tells me he's just looking at the internet and looking at what other people are saying and not doing his own research. So this would be the thing I would tell you to do. Do your research, look at do an area study, gauge distances down your street, what all you're going to be doing, and all of that good stuff. For a shit hit the fan type scenario, or more than likely home defense type scenario, someone breaks in, and see what you want to do. And then also your hunting applications, what works best for you. So anyway, that's what I got to say. Like I said, I don't do niche things or niche things, however you want to put it. I try to go all around practicality. So y'all have a good one. I'm out. I'm going to go watch the dogs play in the snow and drink some more coffee. Later.